I am here. I'm here. My name is Jude, in case you just tuned in, and I told you that Doctor's Mike will be on air today. Yeah, Thursday. Don't forget, at this time. And let me let you know that I have a doctor here already. He's close to his mic, Doctor's mic. Well, Dr. Charles Adeogu is in the studio. Good to have you join us again today.
Yeah, good morning. How are you doing today?
Great. Good. I'm fine. Okay, everyone, feel free to join the conversation. I want you to get your writing material, all right? And get to just put something down, write something, because it's going to be very, very important now and even later. Okay, Doctor's mic. Yeah. I don't know if you want to talk about it. Yeah.
Okay, Doctor's Mic is a platform that is on social media handles, and basically you can drop your comments, you can drop your questions, and anything of interest that you would want us to discuss about, you may also put up there. It's just going to be like a follow-up to what we do here, while on air. We talk about various important issues relevant to health, relevant to our well-being, and if you have any suggestions or comments or questions, you can just direct them there, and in a timely fashion they will be attended to, and then we'll be happy to give you any advice or guidance to ensure that you get the help you need at the right time.
Yeah, of course. Doctor's Mic is, like I said, on social media platforms.
On social media handles, it's on Instagram, it's on Facebook, and on TikTok, and on YouTube as well. So we would keep putting out the handles so that people can connect and take advantage of this platform, because what we really intend to do is making sure that your doctor is as close to you as possible,
of course,
and then you are able to reach out and get the help you need as at when due.
And often we get several questions here we cannot really answer, and it's somehow leaving your question behind, so we just want to carry everyone along. That's why we're using the opportunity to at least direct you there. Just go there and drop your question, all right? Leave me with Studio Wahala. Face the doctor there, let him answer all of your questions. But hey, health, they say, is wealth. All right, that's what we're doing. This a voice of the people. I will always say, whatever connects with the people is what we do here. Whatever connects with the people positively is what we encourage here, and that's what we're doing this. So I will encourage you to stay there with us. Funny enough, we discuss most of the things people don't discuss as regards health, as regards issues of your own body, your health. When you go out there, you really don't hear it, but here that we discuss it, anything, everything. All right, that's what knowing is what we talk about. Now let's get talking quickly. Someone asked me a question the last time. He said, I want to put it exactly the way he put it. He said, bros, what is the cause of stroke? Some people said now overthinking, then they cause stroke. What causes stroke really?
Stroke is what we call a neurological condition, meaning it affects the brain, because as we know, the brain is a central organ that controls and coordinates the activities in the body, and it has its own blood supply. So if anything cuts off the blood supply to the brain, oxygen supply, blood supply to the brain, the part that is not receiving enough perfusion of blood or oxygen, starts losing function. And when that happens, that is what a stroke is. So you have different types of stroke, and but the main principle or understanding behind it is that the brain is not getting blood supply and oxygen as it should. Therefore, you're going to have some deficits in the function of that aspect of the brain. So if the part of the brain that is affected is the one involving your speech, you may find out that the person has slurred speech. You may find out that the person cannot articulate eloquently, cannot speak properly. And then if it's the part that has to do with understanding or comprehension of speech, you find out that the person may even be hearing you but cannot make a head or tail of what you're talking about. And stroke basically in our environment is actually from uncontrolled hypertension, uncontrolled diabetes, and high cholesterol. Those three are the major causes of stroke in adults in our environment. You may also find stroke in children, particularly those with sickle cell anemia. There's a potential of having strokes amongst them. So anything that blocks the blood supply to the brain would give a stroke. So blood supply can be blocked through high cholesterol, through having uncontrolled diabetes. When the sugar level is high, it damages the blood vessels and you're not going to have enough perfusion to the brain. And people that have blood clots too, simple blood clots too, in the wrong places can actually cause a stroke. And what are the features that you see in the person that has a stroke? We have an acronym called FAST, F-A-S-T. That's how we remember it.
Okay.
So once you notice somebody's face has asymmetry, when you draw a straight line to divide the face in half, you know, and then you notice one half of the face is different from the other face in appearance. One part is drooping or one part is not symmetrical like the other.
Okay.
It's a red flag. Then A is arm. When you notice one arm is weaker than the other, or you are beginning to find out that the arm has lost function already or is just flaccid, it could be that there is a stroke. Loss of sensation, weakness in one arm is also a sign. Then the S is speech. You notice that the person's speech is slurred. The person starts talking very slowly, or you cannot even comprehend what the person is saying. The person is just muttering some things, and then is actually very slurred and slow. Then you know that this may be a stroke. Then the T is for time. Once you notice those three, FAS, then time is of the essence. It is an emergency. Rush the person to a health facility. Let the right neurologist see the person. The person needs to go for a scan of the brain to confirm the suspicion of stroke, especially if there's a history of high blood pressure or diabetes previously. So it's very essential to know that stroke in our environment is a complication of uncontrolled hypertension, diabetes, or people that have high cholesterol or tendency to form blood clots. So it's a very common thing that happens to a lot of people. Rarely will you find any Nigerian that hasn't heard of stroke or knows anybody who is living with a stroke or who has had a stroke before. But for some people, it is fatal, especially when they've had a previous stroke. So if you've had a stroke before, a history of a stroke before, and it happens a second time, a second stroke usually has bad consequences. You know, it could be fatal. So it's important that if you live with any of these conditions previously mentioned, hypertension or diabetes, please make sure they are under control. Please make sure you take your medications, you're compliant with your treatment. The lifestyle and dietary changes advised, you follow them, you know, you adhere to them strictly. And then you make sure that you go for regular health checks so that these things are monitored. Occasionally your doctor may need to review your medications, but if you don't go for a follow-up, that would be impossible. So it's very necessary that a follow-up is done so that you are always, you know, on the right track when it comes to you preventing stroke. Because, you know, stroke comes with incapacitation. Once you have lost function, you know, with your limbs or with speech, it becomes a problem. The person cannot function in whatever he's doing. And then physiotherapy is essential, you know, in ensuring that function is restored. It's part of what we call rehabilitative medicine, whereby you're trying to restore function that has been lost. So the speech therapist may come in to help with the speech. The physiotherapist comes with all the exercises and all the techniques to help to restore muscle function in the limbs that have lost function, you know.
But can a stroke patient be normal again?
Well, time
is it possible?
It is possible, because that's why we say time is of the essence. So the moment you have 4 hours, you know, that 4-hour interval, the initial 4 hours when a stroke happens, those hours are the crucial hours, because if you are able to swing into action, get the person to a health facility, you can, you know, significantly improve you know, the person's outcome, and then reduce the chance of permanent incapacitation, because there are some things that can be done in the hospital quickly within those you know, early 4 hours when the symptoms at the onset of symptoms, that can actually help a complete reversal. And then instituting physiotherapy early also improves the overall outcome of stroke patients. So it's very necessary that once you see that somebody has those symptoms we mentioned, the person is moved to the nearest health facility, the right investigations are carried out, and the right management is instituted.
This stroke thing, some people feel when you a stroke patient, you just forget about going to the hospital, face herbal treatment, you know. And in fact, I was about going there when someone just sent a message now. He said, good morning, Jude. Stroke being spiritual attack and herbal treatment. Clarify, please.
Very good, very good. Because in our environments, we spiritualize a lot of things. When we see something that we cannot explain, we tend to actually qualify it as spiritual. So they can't seem to understand somebody who woke up early, went to work, and suddenly has slurred speech, or suddenly cannot raise one arm or one leg. Everybody starts thinking, oh, somebody did something to him. He had a quarrel with somebody yesterday. Maybe this is the way they want to get back at him. But the truth is, a lot of things, we need to reorientate ourselves when it comes to a lot of things. A lot of things that we think are not explainable are actually explainable. That is why we have this kind of platform. That is why we're trying to change the outlook of our people and their perception about illnesses. Many of the conditions we call spiritual are actually not. It's because you don't have the right explanation to these things. That's why you think, oh, you can't explain why somebody who seemed well suddenly has become incapacitated. But the truth is, it can happen. There is no spiritual basis to this. This is what happens globally. Stroke is something that affects people all over the world, but it's just that it's more prevalent in areas where people have poor health-seeking behavior, or where access to healthcare is expensive, or access to healthcare is not readily available. So you have it more prevalent in such areas. So basically, let us use this platform to clarify it. It is a myth that it is spiritual. It is not spiritual. There's no basis for that. Because if you
in this part of the world, when you have stroke, they believe is a spiritual thing, and don't even go to the hospital. You're worsening this thing. Go to a herbal healing home or whatever.
Because if you don't go to the hospital, first and foremost, you have lost that crucial hours, those early hours that something could have been done to reverse the situation. You have lost that time. And the physiotherapy that you should have instituted, you're not going for that physiotherapy. All the drugs that you need to use to control your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your high cholesterol, you're not taking any of that. You are going somewhere where they are actually saying prayers for you, or doing some rituals or whatever for you to make you get better. All you just see is that you watch the person deteriorate. The person's condition either deteriorates, or the person eventually dies. And at the end of the day, when the person dies, they tell you that is the aim. They finally got the person.
Doc, I'm imagining in my head someone is at home saying, this doctor is just talking medicine. Let's leave this thing. Let's come down to the cocoa. Go to a spiritualist.
But the truth is, whatever the spiritualist is doing for you, scientifically, there's something we call evidence-based medicine. How many people have gone to seek this spiritual help and come back to tell you that they go well? How many of them have gone with a limp hand and leg and they came back walking intact and everything normal? So I think we should start thinking from that perspective. So if we have a record of those people that have come back to say, oh, we went there and this was done for us, and we're actually seeing a trend in that, there may be something to consider. But scientifically speaking, and from what we know to be true, there is no basis for that. Most of these people that have stroke, if you actually go to check them, they have high blood pressure that has been ignored over time, that has been left uncontrolled. They have diabetes that has been uncontrolled. They have high cholesterol that has been uncontrolled. They may be obese. They may have had blood clot issues that has been left unattended. So these are real issues that people need to know. We keep emphasizing on this show, go for regular health checks. Don't wait till an emergency happens. Stroke is a complication of some other medical conditions. So they get complicated and then you have a stroke. So before things get complicated, manage your diabetes at the level of diabetes. Do your lifestyle changes. Do your dietary changes. Adhere to your treatments, your prescription. Follow the kind of meal plan that your doctor has put up for you, that these are the foods that are safe for you. These ones will spike your sugar. For your high blood pressure, stress management. You need to sleep well. You need to lose weight. You need to reduce salt in your food.
I've seen an adult who doesn't sleep, above 50, thereabout. He doesn't sleep. He sleeps just max 3 hours, and it takes a lot of sugar
and considers
Coca-Cola
and
all of these things.
Yeah, all these things, they have consequences, because over time you give blows to your body and your body seems to adjust. But it gets to a point that your body tells you, I've had enough. This is my breaking point.
Okay.
And then you now start seeing the consequences of all the years of all the wrong things you've been doing. At the initial stage, it seems like you're getting away with some of those things, but when the consequences start knocking in, then you now see that you've actually been shooting yourself in the foot, because many times a lot of people come down with sudden kidney problems and everybody will call it spiritual too, but not knowing that you've had years of high blood pressure you did nothing about, years of diabetes you did nothing about, you've actually been abusing all sorts of herbal mixtures and concoctions, you've been using analgesics indiscriminately. All these damage the organs eventually. So if you actually look closely, you will be able to pick out what these people have been doing wrong over time, but yet they deem it spiritual. So we really need our people to know what the right things are, what are the roots of these problems, and then tackle it from there, rather than just saying we can't explain it, then it becomes spiritual.
Can a child have stroke, or maybe let me say a young person below 20 or say 25?
It's very
possible.
It's possible. Just like I mentioned earlier, sickle cell patients are prone to stroke, especially in childhood, because of the nature of their condition. The cells sickle, they can clog up the arteries, they can clog up the arteries that supply the brain, and then you can have a stroke. You can have deficits of function, the muscle functions on the opposite side, because normally if your brain is affected on one side by a stroke, the part of your body that shows the symptoms is the contralateral side. It's actually the opposite side. So if it's the right side, you have it on the left. If it's on the left side, you have the symptoms on the right. So it's important to know that it's actually something that can happen in childhood, and many other conditions too can also predispose a young person to have stroke. So stroke is not something that you would say is limited only to adults. Children can also have it, but majorly in our environment, a lot of adults, because now we say out of every 3 adults, 1 is likely hypertensive. That is the kind of prevalence we have now, relating to high blood pressure. And it doesn't show any symptoms. You're not going to feel anything. You may wake up normal, going about your normal activities, but your blood pressure is actually way off the radar.
Let me put this question to you again. Can overthinking, like they'll call it, they overthink, can mental pressure and stress cause stroke?
There's an important relationship between high blood pressure and stress. When you are stressed, you are probably not sleeping well. You are probably in overdrive. Cortisol levels are high. You have some stress hormones that are just raging, and the tendency for your blood pressure to be uncontrolled is there. So, and we know that stroke is a consequence of uncontrolled blood pressure, for instance. So stress can complicate an already existing condition. So if you have what we call pathologies, those are disease conditions already, whether you have diagnosed them or not, we need to clarify that. The fact that you're not aware of a condition doesn't mean it's not there. It's just that you're not aware. So it's there, it's brewing. Those are what we call underlying conditions. So whether it is known or unknown, it is there. So when you are compounding that with stress, you complicate issues. And then stress can be in form of not sleeping well. It can be in form of overworking. It can be in form of you not having a proper work-life balance. It can be in form of you not going on vacations. It can be in form of you having emotional pressure. It can be mental health issues, PTSD, or something has happened to a person, maybe has lost his job or is bereaved, and he hasn't really come out of that emotional distress. All those can amount to stress. And, over time, if the person does not seek the needed help or the right counseling that they need to come out of that, yes, they are at risk of cardiovascular complications. They may be at increased risk of stroke, and whatever underlying condition they have may be exacerbated.
Now, again, someone just asked a question. Let me quickly get to that. He said, what if you do a job that makes you sweat a lot, or you walk, your work or your job rather entails trekking from morning till evening? All right. He said, is it advisable to take Coca-Cola or any soft drink always to quench your thirst? That is from Babatunde.
Good question. Your body needs to be well hydrated all the time. We live in the tropics, and our climate is hot. We know that. So we sweat a lot. And let me quickly talk about how our body loses water. You lose water through your urine, you lose water through your sweat, and there's the insensible water loss through your breathing. So you lose water in form of water vapor when you breathe in and out. So it's very necessary for you to know that if you're sweating a lot, you need to rehydrate yourself. And rehydration means getting water into your system. You would notice that on a hot day, if you go to pee, your urine seems concentrated because your body is trying hard to conserve as much water as it can. So it releases concentrated urine. All right. And on a day that you have rain, or on a chilly day, or during Harmattan, when you go to pee, it is clear because you're not sweating as much on those cold days. So it's important for us to realize that hydration, proper hydration, and when we are saying hydration, we're referring to water, not any kind of fluid. You know, water is the best thing your body needs to hydrate.
Not these
your body is 60 to 70
carbonated foods and all of these things.
All those things, if you look at their contents, you know, yes, you may get that high, the sugar spiking, and then the chill.
Of course,
in the hot weather, you know,
that sound when you open it.
Yeah, you know, it makes you feel relaxed.
Deceiving sound.
Yeah. It makes you feel relaxed. You feel good, and you gulp it all down.
Oh yeah.
And everything, but you forget that some of those things, apart from the sugar content, they also contain preservatives. Some of them contain some other things there that may not necessarily be good for your health. And you know, some of them are addictive because by the time you get used to them, for you to break off is a problem. I've seen people that once they eat, they hardly ask for water. They will say, please, I beg, give me one of these chilled things. They will drink it, and once they feel thirsty again, they ask for another one.
I know someone who always, like, a day, this guy will take like 2 or 3 bottles of.
So you have a sugar rush. You have that initial sugar rush that makes you feel good, you feel energetic, you feel you have the vigor to do everything you need to do. And then at some point it peaks and crashes. And then you now find yourself feeling weak and lethargic and feeling sleepy and all that. After that high, then comes the low. So it's essential that as you're getting older, you make healthy life choices, healthy life decisions. Water. If you are thirsty, you need to take something different from water, or that tastes different from water. The problem with some people, they say water is too flat, it's tasteless, you know, it's not attractive. You can do some other things that would give you some good taste, but all the same still healthy. I know fruits are expensive, but this is your health. Invest in it. You know, you can make smoothies, you can make natural fruit juices, you know.
Smoothie, right?
Yeah, smoothies or natural fruit juices. You can refrigerate them just like you put your drinks in the fridge too. And when you feel thirsty, you bring them out and sip them. You still feel refreshed. And, you know, you have the benefits that comes from this natural fruit, the antioxidants that come from them. And then all the vitamins that also come from them will be beneficial to you. But those drinks, in essence, they do not contain anything beneficial to your health. There are no vitamins there. You know, there's nothing to improve your health, so to say. And a lot of people that get addicted to it, they are at risk of obesity, risk of you know, high sugar levels, and then whatever underlying conditions they are managing may actually get complicated and more difficult to manage.
Okay. Let's get somebody actually asked if poverty can cause this same stroke thing. You know the way we believe things in this part of the world, we just feel when you're poverty stricken, anything can come alongside stroke.
Truth is, poverty is multidimensional. It has different aspects to it. So poverty would not let you go to the hospital.
Okay.
Poverty will not let you buy your drugs. Poverty will not let you go for regular health checks. Poverty in the first instance may keep you ignorant, you know, so there are a lot of things you may not know. And God forbid, when there is an emergency, poverty is your greatest enemy, because at that point in time you need money to make things work. You need money for an ambulance, you need money to go to a hospital, you need money to have the right scans or the right consultations. But if money is not available, of course everything nosedives and there's a decline in everything. So poverty is a big problem. So for people who are asking this question, it's good for us to add that poverty too will give you sleepless nights and add to your stress, because you'll ever be anxious of what the next day will hold or what the next day will bring. How do you settle this bill? How do you make that payment? How do you do school fees? How do you pay for your rent and all that? And all the life expenses, you know, just rush at you, and you're wondering, how you're going to cope with them. So basically, poverty can be a huge factor when it comes to all illnesses, because you need constant follow-up. You need to be on medications constantly, and poverty would not allow you to do that. So, talking of poverty, there's no way we talk of poverty and not talk on a national level. So your job cannot take you out of poverty, for instance. We need a major national transformation,
of course,
to eliminate or eradicate poverty.
Okay. Now, there are several questions coming in. Okay, if you want, okay, let me do this first. Okay, first of all, let me let you know Doctor's Mic is available for you. All right, on social media, whether Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or
TikTok. So Doctor's Mic, DOCTOR''S So the mic is MIC.
Yeah. Doctor's
so
Mic. It is actually there, so you can go there and don't bother me with these plenty questions. I'm not a doctor. We just want to bring you this as a radio station so that you are careful of some of the things you do. You just feel you just do things and you feel there are no consequences. That's why we felt, okay, let's remind you about your health. It's very, very important how you do things on daily basis. It's just like your mother will tell you in those days, whatever you sow today, you reap it tomorrow.
Absolutely.
It's like health is like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever you garbage in, garbage out, whatever you feed in, you get as outcome. And it's important for us to talk about it here, that it is worrisome that our life expectancy in Nigeria is in the 50s, about 54. So on your 54th birthday, be writing your will. That's what it means. Wow. Yes, that is what it literally means. It means that anybody who clocks 50...
Doctor, you will scare people though.
No, but that's the truth. That is the reality of what we're saying. And that's the essence of what we're talking about. Because we see, how many people do you see die in their 80s or 90s again? It doesn't happen anymore. These things, were commonplace things before. People's grandparents died at, even over 100. But now it has dropped drastically. And it's because of our lifestyle, it's because of our diet, it's because of westernized culture, it's because of some of the things we use on our body, some of the products we use. They increase our risk of certain illnesses. So we need to know that the choices and the decisions we make in terms of nutrition, in terms of lifestyle, in terms of exercise, in terms of stress management, go a long way. And our ability to go and check our health frequently. And I like emphasizing it. The doctor doesn't necessarily want to chop your money. That's why he keeps saying you should go for health check. He's only trying to tell you that he knows there are diseases that are not obvious on the surface, but they are there. And by the time they will rear up their ugly heads, unfortunately, sometimes the case is already advanced or beyond remedy. So nobody wants to hear, if only you came 3 months ago, if only you came 6 months ago, the outcome would have been different. Nobody wants to hear that, because that's living in regret, and you cannot turn back the hands of time. So it's best you know what is wrong with you.
For those listening, you can. I don't know if I'll be able to take calls. I want to save time. That's why I encourage you, whenever it's Thursday at this time, just send a message, drop a message, and our WhatsApp number is there, 081-717-56338, 081-717-56338, or just go and look for Doctor's Mic on any social media platform. Doctor's Mic, all right? Just so that you can answer, the doctor can just take care of your questions, tell you what to do and what not to do and all of that. Okay, we're really, really serious in this thing. Take care of your health. Like I said, on Facebook, Doctor's Mic, just go search for Doctor's Mic and drop a question there. Okay, it's very simple. Now, doctor, okay, for some persons who can drop their messages here now, I will be able to read it out quickly. Okay, let me also remind you that, doctor, somebody sent a message here. There's a popular doctor he's trying to quote, but I wouldn't want to mention the name of that doctor.
Absolutely.
Now, he said, my question is to the doctor. I heard another doctor say don't take vitamin C tablets and folic acid except with doctor's prescription. The doctor said you don't need those drugs unless one has a health issue. He also said that these vitamin C tablets and folic acid causes kidney stones. Which one do we now follow? Kindly clarify. Thank you.
Very good. Vitamins are essential nutrients, that we need for a balanced diet. If you don't have enough vitamins, you have what we call deficiency diseases. For instance, vitamin C. If you're deficient in vitamin C, you have what is called scurvy. You would be brushing and you have your gums bleeding. You will be
when you lack what?
Vitamin C.
Oh, really?
Yes. So you have bleeding gums. You may have poor wound healing. Vitamin C is necessary for collagen production. So if you don't have collagen, your skin will just look all saggy, wrinkles, fine lines, and all that. And vitamin C helps to speed up wound healing, and because of its antioxidant function, is necessary for your immune function also, because it's a very potent antioxidant. Yes, it is true that if you have certain vitamins in excess, they can cause certain conditions for you. We've seen people who will take extremely high dose of vitamin C, and they'll tell you they are beginning to have diarrhea. It happens. All you just need to do is reduce the dose, because you have a nutritional daily requirement for vitamin C. You can just reduce the dose of what you're using. And yes, in some people that already have underlying conditions that can make them predispose them to kidney stones, yes, they can have kidney stones too. So it is a factor of the dose and what duration that you're using it for. And you can also get this vitamin C from your fruits, from your citrus fruits, from many of the natural fruits around you. You can get vitamin C from them. So you don't necessarily have to say, oh, because somebody has said this, then we should stay away from it. You are going to have deficiency diseases, because if you don't have these nutritional requirements in their right amounts, you are going to come down with deficiency diseases. That's why people, when they have a wound, we still tell them, take vitamin C, take zinc. These are things that have been shown and proven to assist wound healing. Then for the folic acid, I think I would agree with the doctor to a large extent, because folic acid helps with red blood cell production. So people that are anemic, people that are pregnant, or have one kind of anemia or the other may benefit, especially megaloblastic anemia, will benefit from folic acid. But people that have cancer must run away from folic acid.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Cancer?
Once you take folic acid and you have cancer, you are multiplying your cancer cells, because it's not going to discriminate between good and bad cells. It will just multiply everything. So folic acid is completely contraindicated in people that have cancer. So when you say don't take drugs on your own, you can see where this comes to play. If you have a condition and you hear this supplement is good for Mr. A, you don't know Mr. A's condition, that your own condition is another condition, and you are taking the person's prescription, you may complicate your own underlying problems. So a person who has cancer, and maybe they told the person, your last blood count shows that your blood is low, and the person runs to go and take folic acid because he knows folic acid is for blood, he will be shooting himself in the foot, because he will be complicating his own issue, and his cancer may end up becoming more aggressive and difficult to control. So that is the essence of you consulting medical professionals. Don't self-medicate. We've mentioned it here before. You go to a pharmacy, you pick up a medication because you just complained to the person selling the drug. The person is not asking you what are your drug allergies. The person is not asking you what conditions are you managing before. The person is just selling based on that complaint you came with. And the person may actually be complicating another condition you are managing, but you are not a medical professional to know that. So please go to a doctor who will examine you, who will take a detailed history, who would know the right choice of medication that suits your peculiar condition, so that you don't complicate any underlying condition you may be having or dealing with.
All right, like I said, you can send in your messages here 081-717 WhatsApp 081-717-56338, or that's the number, 081-717-56338. Okay, and the doctor is going to respond to you, or like I said, Doctor's Mike on Facebook or Instagram or any of these social handles, and then he will still go there and pick your questions, and you just have a conversation with the doctor. Like he said, making sure your doctor is close to you is very, very important. Very, very important. Okay, so I will not I might not just take any call here, but then I assure you that I can read your message. Okay, I will of course read your message. Now, that brings me to this issue here. Let me see if is it good to be taking vitamin C every day? Like you mentioned, someone is asking you, is it good to
vitamin C
to take vitamin C every day?
In a regulated amount, in a fixed dose, is fine. But like we said, most of your nutrition comes from your food. These are supplements. They should supplement the main things you get from your food. So your food should be your main source of nutrition. You know, because of the nature of our lives in Lagos, a lot of people run out of the house, you know, without breakfast, you know, and maybe before they can have a fast food, it's almost lunchtime, and before you know it, they are so engrossed in their work and they are missing meals, they are skipping meals and all that, and they now go heavy on supplements. That is really wrong, because your nutrition should come from your natural foods first. The supplements should only top up for deficiencies, maybe in the process of food preparation or food storage, some of the vitamins that have been lost in the process, you now replenish those, you know, with your supplements, so that you don't have any of these deficiency illnesses. But the truth of the matter is that vitamin C is quite safe for most people, and it's a water soluble vitamin, so you know you can always spit it out in your urine, you know, if everything is working fine. So it's not really a source of great concern. But for folic acid, I would, because of the spike we have in cancer cases, both diagnosed and undiagnosed, please, before you take anything, always run it by your doctor. And we cannot overemphasize the need for regular health checks, especially the cancer screenings now. For women, your cervical pap smear, your mammograms if you are over the age of 40, or if you have a positive family history. For men, your PSA checks over the age of 40. Then at 50, you do your colonoscopy to rule out colorectal carcinoma and all that. Very, very essential. We need to do all these things. And Mr. Judy, I think you should mention that we're going to take on some very interesting dimensions on Doctor's Mic shortly. Maybe we shouldn't let the cat out of the bag.
Okay, no, please. okay. Let me let everyone know. Okay, but next week, starting next week, we'll be having some popular faces here. Yeah, very, very popular persons, you know, join us on the show, because we need to elaborate. We need to do a lot, you know, to get you involved. Your health, I would always say, is important. Okay, so by next week, expect a very, very popular personality here in the studio talk about how important your health is. All right.
And then also talking about fantastic doctors too that would be joining us in these conversations, who have been, well read, well researched, and then they work in fantastic places. They know their onions well, and then they get to hear from you, and we have a good time rubbing minds with the right professionals, so that anytime you have any issues, you have the right channels to go to for the help you need.
Like I recall you were telling me about this, but I would want you to help us understand what kind of doctors, what are they into?
Okay,
because you rightly mentioned that we need to get some other persons to talk about.
Absolutely, absolutely, for a more robust discussion,
of course,
and then a discussion that really addresses the need of people, because the need is actually there. We'll have skilled professionals
in those areas,
specialists in individual fields that are very relevant fields: gynecology, pediatrics, general surgery, orthopedics, psychiatry, clinical psychology. All these would come at different times. So be expecting to hear from fantastic gynecologists who have had a very thorough research rich practice, and then they've seen it all in both government and private institutions. They will be here, discussing issues relating to women, reproductive health, pregnancy, delivery, and all that. And these are immense gems that they will be giving to us that will really be beneficial to our women, so that at least this maternal mortality that we spoke about the last time, we'll be able to curb them and bring them to the barest minimum.
After the show last week, someone actually reached out to me on social media. Yeah, on, I think it was Facebook Facebook, Instagram, I can't remember. They're saying, "Oh, so you lost your wife?" So I heard
Oh.
you what you were saying to the doctor that you lost your wife, last year.
Yeah.
Say, "Oh, sorry, what happened?" And I had to start, explaining it had to do with, she was during childbirth. Doctor says it is. So that is one of the reasons why I had to make sure this doctor's mic is rich enough. See, don't play with your health. I know what I'm saying.
Exactly.
See,
You have only one life.
See, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there.
So you're speaking from experience.
I'm telling you, and that's why I want everyone to key to this. You need to, like doctor will say, when it comes to your health, and you need to save for it. The way you save money,
budget for it.
Budget for it. That's the word.
The way you budget your rent, budget for education, you have to
Budget for your health is important.
It's very key, because without your health, you can't function at all. Everything revolves around your health, and for you to aspire to be anything or have a great future, your health must be intact for you to enjoy whatever you're working for. So it's very essential that we take this seriously. So would really see it take on a new dimension, a very, very robust dimension, and it's going to be
whatever is worth doing at all is worth doing well.
It will become very educative and enjoyable, and a lot of people will be able to.
I want to have a
from
conversation
that.
with some other doctors too. Who
Yes,
are,
absolutely.
let's talk to them.
Yes, we'll be able to do
someone
that.
sent you a message here. He said, "Doctor, what could be the cause of reoccurring infection for me, even after treatment and abstaining from sexual activities and keeping all the rules against infection? What could be the cause of reoccurring infection?" That's what he said.
Very good. So first and foremost, we would start from the basics. Your own immune status. What is your immune status like? Are you vulnerable to infections? Have you screened yourself to find out if you're not immunodeficient in any way? Because our bodies have natural defenses, and mechanisms that protect us from invaders.
Okay.
So if you're beginning to have recurrent infections, you will want to know about your immune status as an individual. Then secondly, because what you're suggesting is sexual infection, we also want to find out, do you do contact treatment? Do you treat your spouse or your partners? Because if you don't, if you're the only one getting treated, they come back to reinfect you each time. Then number three, we also want to find out, do you have any issues with you not completing your treatments? Because we mentioned it before.
Of course.
You give them a prescription or a treatment regimen, and you tell them, take this for 10 days. By the 4th day, they feel better. They throw the drugs away. They don't complete the treatment, and they think they're out of the woods like that. But if you don't complete the treatment your doctor has recommended, you are risking a chance of a reoccurrence. Then also another important thing about infections happening is, what is your own lifestyle? What is your current lifestyle? Do you practice safe sex? You can't be living in a particular way, have a certain lifestyle, and you don't expect the consequence of that lifestyle to haunt you. For instance, just saying. But I'm just talking about all the different possibilities. So I think you should start with doing a screening yourself and your partner, and then making sure that you do the right tests. Because another thing is, have you even been seeing a doctor, and who is treating you? That's another question. Where are you getting your treatment from? I hope it's not from some nurse, in quotes, or some treatment from a chemist somewhere. Just saying, because these are the normal things we see. These are the trends. Are you seeing a proper doctor? Was a proper history taken? Were the right tests conducted? And where did you conduct your tests? Because this is a subject for another day. We even have all sorts of results churning out from different labs. So we don't even want to talk about that. So basically, I would advise you, go to see a good doctor, run the right tests, go with your partner or your spouse, do a thorough STI screening, and follow the treatment regimen given to you. And I'm sure everything will be fine.
Okay. Is there any drug for blood clot?
Blood clots?
Yeah.
Yes. So we call them blood thinners or anticoagulants. So depending on...
Or how to stabilize BP.
Stabilizing BP, antihypertensives, lifestyle changes, your diet. We've talked about some factors that you can modify and the ones you cannot modify. You cannot change your age, you cannot change your sex, you cannot change your family history or genetics. So that is on one side. But the ones you can work on to stabilize your BP, you can work on losing weight, avoiding sedentary lifestyle, cutting down alcohol, stop smoking, reduce caffeine, stress management, reducing salt in your food, monitoring your cholesterol levels. You know, all those are essential. And the drugs your doctor gives you, we've said it before, don't stop a drug your doctor gave you by yourself. You know, we find that happening a lot of the times. People just end up, you know, leaving their drugs halfway, thinking that I don't need to be on the, or I'm tired of the medication. Please, hypertension or diabetic, they are chronic, non-communicable diseases. So that means that they are long-term treatment. You don't stop your treatment by yourself. You are constantly monitoring these things, and you need to go for regular reviews and health checks so that you can get the right outcomes and not complicate your issues.
Okay, too many questions, I must say here. Many people, especially in Lagos, believe that one can take soft drinks and sugar as much as they can, but be using plenty herbs to flush them out. You know, with this you can live long. Please, doctor, how do you see this?
First and foremost, I need to tell you, I am not a herbal doctor. So the herbs that you use to flush out those things, I don't know them. So I may not be able to say, well, it's a verified situation that this herb or that herb will help you flush out your excess Coke or Fanta that you're taking. I have no clue. I have nothing to say to that. But I will tell you that the more natural you feed, the better for you. Foods that are natural are more wholesome. Foods that are natural don't contain preservatives. They don't have additives. They don't have things that are possible carcinogens that can cause cancer or complicate your health issues. You need to stay healthy as much as possible, and nutrition is a key part of it. So what you drink is part of your nutrition. So you need to put in your body healthy things that will benefit your body. You know, we usually say that once you go to a party or anywhere, they serve you food or drinks or whatever, quickly do a mental assessment of what is served. What is this thing going to do in my body? What is the benefit of this thing if I eat it? What is this thing going to give my body? What value, what nutritional value am I going to get from this thing? So by looking at it, if it looks like most of the things they are not going to give you important value in your body, you better stay away from them. You better reduce them.
He said, I have been suffering from pile for months now, and I have tried softener. He mentioned the ones he took. What else can I do? It's so painful after passing stool.
Well, the truth is there are a number of conditions that can affect that part of your digestive system. It could be hemorrhoids, especially when you are bleeding, when you go for have a bowel motion, and then it could be extremely painful as well. I don't know if he bleeds. He didn't mention to us. I don't know if part of the hemorrhoidal rectal hemorrhoidal tissue is, you know, protruding out, like in some cases. But what you should do is make sure that you're drinking enough water. Make sure that you're on high fiber diet, meaning you're taking a lot of vegetables and fruit and foods that are rich in fiber, so that you can have a smooth bowel movement and you will have to strain less. You know, for people that have hemorrhoids, the longer they sit, you know, while they're having a bowel movement, that pressure of sitting down also worsens, you know, the hemorrhoids. So you want something that would help you move your bowel easily, so you can evacuate whatever the contents of your colon are at every point in time. So water, vegetables, and then you have to do your high fiber diet. There are some very good hemorrhoidal creams, topical hemorrhoidal creams or suppositories that you can also use that can help you with the pain and irritation that comes with hemorrhoids. And most importantly, you should go and check with a general surgeon. Let a general surgeon, you know, physically assess you and examine you to be sure that that is really the condition you have, and not even an anal fissure, because you can have anal fissure and think it's bile, because you also see blood and you'd also feel pain. So go and see the right specialist to examine you.
Because of our time, I just wanted to touch on this. I hope this the time we have would help us, you know. But this person is saying, please, I want to ask the doctor. Anytime I have okay, let me coin this thing because of the little ones at home. Okay, I have anytime I touch my wife, all right, or my partner, she always have pain, and that's why I don't always touch her every time, because she always feel pain, and it lasts for like 10 minutes before it reduces.
Yeah, that can be from different factors. There's a condition called endometriosis. When we have the gynecologists come in, they will talk more and elaborate on it. So endometriosis is a condition whereby you have abnormal endometrial glands and stroma. That's lining of the womb. Some of those tissue, you find it in other parts of the body. That's just the simple explanation. But it presents typically with very painful periods, extremely painful, and pain during sex. So if your wife is complaining of pain during sex and it's very severe and intense, think of endometriosis as a possible cause. Then you also want to think of vaginal dryness, hormonal imbalance, and all those things. Because if you have vaginal dryness, yes, it can also be painful and uncomfortable. Then if she also has something like cervicitis, it could also be painful. And for some women, you would even have them have what we call postcoital bleeding. After having sex, they actually bleed because something is happening at the cervix, which is the neck of the womb. And that may be a pointer to cervical cancer or some other things. We talked about cervical pap smear. So women, please don't wait till something happens. You see, just like in January you must resume school, and like in April is Easter. So that is how you should choose a month in the year so that you go for comprehensive health check as a man or as a woman, whether you are sick or not. It is mandatory because this thing has saved a lot of people's lives. There's no gain in saving money, stacking up money, working hard and saying, me I know they sick, because I hear people say that when last did I go to hospital? I know they sick at all. But that one sickness that will come, all the money they've saved within 1 month can fly away. We've talked about it here. People that need dialysis constantly or need a renal transplant, you know how much it costs. It can make people sell their properties. Whereas these things are actually preventable if you just follow the right track, going for regular checks,
Doc,
and managing your underlying conditions.
Make all of them go talk to you. There's so many questions here I cannot respond to.
So they should go to Doctor's Mic. We'll be responding on Doctor's Mic, and then we promise to respond promptly and give you all the right advice as necessary. And if you need to be referred to any other person that can help you, we'll be glad to do that. We'll be glad to play that interface, to be able to connect you, to get the right care you need, because health is everything.
Of course.
Yeah, we need to improve our quality of life in Nigeria, and our life expectancy should improve. We don't have to die at 54. It's not the best. It should improve.
So everyone, if you are on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere, social media, just go and type Doctor's Mic, and then the doctor, that's his handle. Okay, those are his handle. Just go there, Doctor's Mic, and ask any question we want to ask doctor. They get one question where they will say, I just will say thank God no now. Thank God no all this kind of question they ask me to answer. But everyone, thank you so much. We need to go now. Your final statement, just a minute.
I would encourage everybody to know that your good health is your responsibility. Good health doesn't just happen. You have your role to play. There's a functional part for you to fill in. For you to be healthy, you have to make healthy decisions. And like he said, garbage in, garbage out. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, it will haunt you at some point. If you know the things you're supposed to change, they say reduce alcohol, stop smoking, all those things. We all know our vices. We all know the things we're supposed to change. But because of one reason or the other, we are still sticking to those things. We will still pay for them at some point because our health would pay for them in a way that we do not expect. So because it's preventable, these are learned behavior. Nobody was born drinking, nobody was born smoking. These are learned behaviors, and they can also be improved on, or you can actually find a way of dropping those things that are not beneficial to you. If you're overweight, watch your diet, exercise more. We'll be talking more on this. We'll talk about substance abuse and how to break off some of these addictions too, because it's possible. A lot of people have done it